Vermont Congressman Peter Welch joins us now from Washington, sir. Congressman, I know it's poor form to speak ill of your fellow members of Congress. You don't like doing it. But when I think of all the common sense things that you all could be doing this summer, whether it's student loans or transportation projects or energy efficiency, and yet there's absolutely no chance of anything being resolved, is there?
Well, unfortunately, I think you're right, Martin. And those are three practical things where there is bipartisan support at the rank-and-file level. The transportation bill would create 2 million jobs. It's been passed by the Senate. Student loans, I mean, how in the world can we justify having a doubling of interest rates?
40 million people will be affected by that doubling of interest rates on the 1st of July. 40 million people.
And that's when the government's borrowing at about 2% or less, and we're going to ask middle-class families to pay 6.8%, obviously not defensible. And then the energy efficiency, the Welch bill, bipartisan, that could create jobs, put people to work in retrofitting homes and save people money. This is really a fundamental decision that the Republican leadership has to make, because if they brought any one of those bills to the floor, they would pass with significant bipartisan support. But they've got a huge rupture in their party between what I would call the fiscal conservatives who are practical and want to get to yes, and the ideological wing of the party that thinks ideological debate is a substitute for practical achievement. And that just, of course, is not true and not doing anything for the American people.
It's incredible. Republicans, as you know, love to talk about the economy, how terrible it all is, how it's all the president's fault. But they have very little to say about the damage that they're doing. A case in point is the student loan debt. 37 million people have outstanding student loans. The total amount owed is almost $1 trillion. 4 in 10 people under 40 are carrying this debt. Wouldn't it be much better for those people and the U.S. economy overall if Congress finally got together to fix the interest rate on student loans before it doubles in, what is it, 4 weeks?
Well, July 1st. No, you're absolutely right. And this is where ideology is so intense that it gets in the way of practical consideration of real problems with solutions that are within our grasp. The transportation bill is another example. I mean, we all have roads and bridges that are falling apart. And America can't compete with this crumbling infrastructure. That puts people to work in all of our districts. It's not a Republican-Democrat deal. But there's such an ideological divide within the Republican conference that Mr. Boehner isn't even able to bring what he was calling a signature bill to the floor.
And we're talking again about 2 million jobs on that transportation bill.
2 million jobs. So, you know, when people get frustrated with Congress, good reason to do it. But bottom line, if the leadership, Mr. Boehner, Mr. Cantor, brought these bills up, we would pass them. But they have the authority in Congress to say yes or no on bringing them up. And basically, they have to split a conference to be willing to do it.
Amazing. Another issue Republicans love to talk about is job-killing taxes. But they don't say anything about the jobs they're killing by holding up, as you said, the transportation bill. Now,
that's right.
Now, on that, I'm assuming that we are in gridlock right the way through to the election, correct?
It looks that way. It does, Martin.
And in terms of post-election, if they still hold the House, what then?
Well, it could be more of the same. Again, there is...
Are you kidding me? More of the same of this?
Well, they're talking right now about adding this nuclear tactic, stonewalling and defaulting on our paying our bills. They want to use the debt ceiling as a hostage once again. So they go from a bad design of a debt deal where you have to have the Pentagon taxes and spending cuts all on the table to get to an outcome. And they're saying that we're also going to add this tactic of defaulting on America's obligation to pay its bills. So this is just the design for failure. And if there's uncertainty in the marketplace, and there is, by the way, it's because it is uncertain and becoming increasingly clear that Congress won't get the job done. And the leadership has to put the issues on the table for a vote, yes or no.
We're going to see that in just a moment. Congressman Peter Welch, thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you.
Next.